TUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. A Town Square Media station.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show radio network on social media, including Martin Houston fan page, Martin J. Houston personal page, Tide 109 Alabama Tradition, XSO Sports, as well as Martin Houston Live on YouTube and at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Great follow. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share. Tell your family and friends about the great things happening right here on Tide 100.9. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time to notice someone, serve someone, love someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. I want to quickly bring X into the program. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Well, glad to have you with us. We got Joe behind the glass, and I'm Martin Houston. So we want to kick things off and remind you that you're listening to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, the Sound of Alabama Sports. Your show, your team. So that means that the phone lines are open for business, and you can help bring content to the show. Usually we have a fire sale Friday, but man, it is practice officially kicking off yesterday. So we got audio to listen to that we can get to from Coach Nick Saban. We also have another special guest joining us today, defensive lineman number 50, Big 50, Tim Smith, joining us later on in the program as well. So stay tuned to catch up with him and hear his conversation. But you can always call us and let us know what's going on. And then, of course, we can talk about anything that happened this week that we didn't get to. And like I said, we were planning on doing a would you rather, but hey, listen, when you have Bama sports to talk about directly, you may or may not get to that topic. But excited to be back out there, guys. Hard to believe, Joe. This is probably more of a question for you, but does it seem like this was one of the quickest off season, or just, I guess, information packed off season? A lot of stories, a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts for the summer.
Oh, absolutely. It went by really fast. It felt like just yesterday spring practice was over. And really, it felt like just yesterday I was getting back from Indianapolis.
Yeah, it really does seem like it was really, really quick. And, of course, no complaints. Now, do not hear a complaint in that statement. But day one of Alabama football in the books, and we're just as excited today as we were, going into last year. But this year, is it going to be different? Nick Saban getting slammed a lot because of a rebuild statement. Joe, not sure if we have his comments on that response to what he meant by rebuild.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, hey, if you got that, let's fire up Coach Nick Saban talking about 2021 being a rebuild. Was that an excuse, reality, or somewhere in between? Here's the greatest coach in the land telling us, doubling down on his rebuild 2021 and what that could potentially mean moving forward.
How do you?
Well, I don't understand what's so hard to understand when the point being we were young and we should have 9 starters back on offense and 9 starters back on defense. That's the point I was trying to make. 6 guys went out for the draft. So, as we usually have to do, we have lots of rebuilding to do again this season. So, that's the point that I was trying to make. So, when you have a lot of young players playing, I don't think our standard is like everybody else's standard, but when you have a lot of young players playing, you're actually trying to rebuild so those guys get the kind of experience you need so they can play at the level you need them to play at so you can play to the standard you want to play to.
Wow. All right. X, let me hear your thoughts, and Joe, I'll get your thoughts, and I'll take away a couple observations there as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Alabama, the standard is definitely different for them than it is for 99.5% of the country. So I understand what he's saying. And you look at the fact Alabama had 3 returning starters. None of them were skill players from the year before on the offense. And yes, you ended up having Bryce Young win the Heisman. Will Anderson ended up developing more and being one of the best, if not the best, college football player in the country. But going into last season, you were replacing first round offensive lineman, first round running back, first round wide receiver, first round quarterback, a DB that was a first rounder. A lot of guys left off of that 2020 team. And that's why you hear that team talks about as one of the best Saban ever had because of everybody that left that team and went to the pros. So to the Alabama standard, yes, it was a rebuild. To the any other school, no, it probably wasn't.
Joe?
Oh, I mean, shoot. So does that mean every year that Nick Saban's been employed, he's been rebuilding?
Yep. And if you take what rebuild means, that's actually one of the statements I had. If truth be told, based on how you cover it, if you judge it by what's considered a rebuild, yeah. And I think if you listen to what he said, that may be the reason. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, we're on the same page, Martin. If every year is a rebuild, then how was last year any different?
I don't know if it was necessarily different. I just think he said it last year. I mean, this year. But I would say probably, Joe, the difference was he said it before the season last year. Probably more so than he has any other time.
And he just mentioned it again for this coming year, and I guess we're probably rebuilding again this year. I mean, come on.
I mean, but I think when you look at what he said our standards are not your standard. It's sort of like there's a scripture in the Bible says God's ways are not our ways. And the typical coach would take this team and be excited to be in a rebuilding year, right? I mean, there are coaches who coach their entire year, their entire life that would like to have a rebuild year like last year. I think the difference is he rebuilds, Joe, with bigger, better pieces. And that's what happened last year. But the reality of it is, I mean, you lose the type of players he had last year. You just happen to be replacing them with a Bryce Young. But you take away one piece from last year, Bryce Young, Joe, how bad was that team offensively?
And the offensive line probably was not the same offensive line that Alabama fans are used to, but wouldn't probably 13 SEC schools have traded for that offensive line?
We say that, but that offensive line gave up the most sacks in the SEC last year.
I mean, I hear you, but we still ran the ball at a decent clip. I mean, you're looking at LSU probably would have traded for it. Kentucky would not have. Okay, Kentucky would not have. Georgia would not have. All right, so I'm being facetious with 13. But maybe 11 schools would have traded for it.
But I think if he had just came out and said that, you know, in the sense of Joe, had he not said it before the season, and had he not stated our standard, meaning that when Alabama looks at a team, they look at it differently. I think then there's even more credence to some of Feinbaum's statement. But the fact that he said it before the season verbally, and then this in the one criteria that he used that like is a criteria was that this team was young last year. So I think that would be a huge part. But let's get to Curtis Moore, because we got to get the break here so we can get Tim Smith on. Curtis, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, I'm gonna add on to the conversation here about the rebuild stuff, and I'm just gonna name a few teams: Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. All close games. Let's say they would have went the other way. So that's what Nick Saban's talking about, you know, with this rebuild thing. Yeah, we had the greatest quarterback, last year with the Heisman. He carried us and everything. But let's say it would have went the other way. That would have pretty much validated this rebuild thing, and kind of scary, because that would have been more than 2 losses out of a regular season. You understand?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So that kind of, to me, it kind of validates that. But I agree with Joe and X and everyone. I mean, our standard is different at Alabama here, and I guess people just look at the outcome. Oh, they made it to the national championship, and how could he say rebuilding? I guess this is what it is. But if you peel back the onion, some of those games could have went the other way too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and maybe he used the wrong word. Maybe he should have said retooled or whatever.
I guess.
But I would ask you the question, Curtis, before I let you go and let you give your final comments. Would every other coach out there have said that they were rebuilding last year if they had been coaching this team as well, based on what they had from 2020? You can't look at what they did. You can't look at what they did. You have to look at.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now when you add in that last thing there, based off the 2020, because that team was senior led. I mean, and it was a great team. No matter if they played 10 games, 13 games, I still think they won a natty. Regardless of the COVID year, that was a great team.
And remember this about that 2020 team. That 2020 team had guys who normally would have been gone back. So it made the age gap in the youngness of this team even greater, because you had Brian Robinson, 6-year guy. You had Najee Harris, a guy who would have left. You had Devontae Smith, a guy who ends up winning the Heisman, who probably would have left. There was a lot of guys who came back.
Dickerson.
So
on and on. Leatherwood. He played his senior year. So I mean.
Yeah, so there was a lot of older guys who were back for that year that would have probably been gone. So it made the gap even more. Hey, Curtis, we got to get out of here. What, you got anything else before we let you go?
Nope, I know you got to move on. I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show, but roll tide.
Roll tide. Appreciate you. Come back on the other side. We'll bring in Tim Smith, defensive lineman of the Alabama Crimson Tide, right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we crank up our Friday morning. Now, if you do see conditions that folks need to hear about, give me a call, 205-886-8886. It's a brand new month. That means brand new deals and savings just for you at Townsend Nissan. They're your hometown dealer, and I'm Captain Ray.
The mystery sale is back at JCPenney, just in time for back to school. Discover extra savings with our in-store coupon giveaway while supplies last. How much will you save? Shopping is back.
You want a fair price on your next vehicle purchase? Then shop Townsend Nissan, your family in the car business for over 30 years. And yes, Townsend Nissan is the home of the lifetime powertrain warranty on new and used vehicles. Now that's peace of mind. And yes, at Townsend Nissan, all cars, trucks, and SUVs are clearly and fairly priced for your shopping pleasure. And yes, Townsend Nissan wants and needs to buy your current vehicle today. The bottom line is Townsend Nissan loves to say yes to you, the consumer. Shop TownsendNissan.com. Buy local. It matters.
See America in your new Burton Campers RV. Be certain with Burton. Burton Campers at exit 231 on I-65 in Calera. Nobody sells RVs for less.
Well, Lentil Lift is Sunday, our new sponsor. We appreciate them taking time to be on our show. What is your lintel? It's the load-bearing structure just above the garage door. Over the years, the weight of the bricks above a garage door put pressure on the structure. The pressure eventually causes the bricks to crack. Lentil Lift, it has a solution, and it works without having to rebuild the entire garage door area. That's pretty darn important. After countless hours of research, testing, Lentil Lift has developed the most efficient and economical method of repairing sagging and hermetic garage entrals. The strongest permanent repair solution you can get, and you can only get it from Lentil Lift. Dan, the Lentil man, who I'll talk about in just a minute, does a great job. You can call him. Lentil Lift will install steel beams that go across the top of your garage door to permanently prevent lintel from sagging at all. These beams are pre-engineered to lift specific weight ranges to straight plane. Contact Lentil Lift today and get a free quote. 205-858-LIFT. 205-858-5438.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Hot, humid weather continues today. Partially sunny with widely scattered showers or storms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 93, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds with scattered showers and storms around, the high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 73 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmarkdesign.com.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Well, I think it's really good for the players. I think the comfort zone that they have, same play caller, same signal callers, same system, same presentation of that system. We don't change the system when we change coordinators, but the personality and how that gets presented sometimes is a little different. So I think there's a lot of sort of comfort level with players. I think our staff did a really good job. We had a couple new additions on both sides of the ball and special teams, but I think they did a really good job of quality control, what we need to do better, what we can do better, how we want to try to improve. So, you know, this first day, we just want to see where we're at and kind of go from there, but it's always good to have continuity in the staff.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about having both coordinators back for a repeat of the season. A do-over, do better, whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't happen very often around the Crimson Tide. But we're going to talk to a young man that can tell us whether it makes a difference or not having some continuity around that. So let's welcome in Mr. Tim Smith, Mr. Tim Smith into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Good morning, Tim. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Oh man, I appreciate you getting up. I guess I'll ask you that audio we just talked about, man. How good has it been for you guys defensively, coming off of a great season last year, heading into this year, um, to be getting your commands and your marching orders from Pete Golding and others in terms of what you guys want to accomplish as a defense this year?
Fall camp just started yesterday. It was trying to right now everybody's main focus is to stay hydrated. The sun ain't no joke, you know what I'm saying? You know, we have to 2 or 3 times a day. So you know what I'm saying? Right now our main focus is just stay hydrated, stay in our playbook, know it like the back of our hand, and be ready for when this first game kick off.
Yeah, well, hopefully you guys have been hydrating and will be hydrating. I'm gonna throw you a couple lob pitches first before we get into some deeper conversation. Reverse it a little bit from the way I did JC yesterday. What's Tim Smith's superpower? If you could be any superhero out there, Tim, and you could translate it to the football field or whatever, what would your superpower be?
I'm not even really sure. Speed really isn't something, you know what I'm saying, I'm so fascinated with. Strength, you know what I'm saying, that's a given. I already got that, but
Hey, listen, man, we just gonna call you. How about we just call you the Hulk then? I mean, Hulk. Take that center, throw him around, and then go get the quarterback. So, but
good with that.
do what now?
I said we good with that, man.
Hey, listen, everybody. A lot of times, people always want to know, Tim, about like when you were younger and stuff. When you started playing football, and did you play any other position other than defensive tackle growing up?
Nah, I started playing baseball when I was 3, so I didn't start playing football until my freshman year of high school.
Oh wow!
Yeah, my mom, she really wasn't going for it. Like I said, since I had been playing since I was 3, my high school coaches wanted me to. My middle school coaches wanted me to try out for high school, so you know what I'm saying, they finally chopped it up with her. She sat down and prayed about it, and she finally gave me the go ahead to play my freshman year of high school. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting story for me because I didn't grow up playing football. I was a huge
Okay.
baseball.
All right. So you started in freshman year. Let me ask you a question about baseball. Now, were you a good baseball player? And what position did you play?
Excellent baseball player, still is. But I moved around a lot on the diamond. You know what I'm saying? Little league, me being the biggest kid, I played first base or either pitcher. Once I got to middle school, I got behind the plate a little bit. I started catching a lot more. I moved to right field. I played first base still. And then once I got to high school, my freshman year, I was behind the plate. I mainly caught.
Okay. Now, bat for average, bat for power, or a little bit of both.
See now, and before high school, it was just get a home run every time you hit the ball.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, once I got to high school, my freshman year, you know what I'm saying, you get around a lot of older guys, some people with some more experience. You learn how to do the things the right way. So you know what I'm saying, at that point, we was just trying to make contact, get some guys on base, get some RBIs. But yeah, before that, in middle school and little league, yeah, we aiming for the fences every time.
Yeah, Tim, I was the same way. I played baseball always. I stopped playing at the 10th grade, but I was actually a better baseball player than I was football. But everybody told me you need to focus on football because they didn't have those dual sports athletes quite as often as they do now. So, hey, we're speaking with Tim Smith of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's joining us today. Tim, we really appreciate you taking some time to join us, and want to give you a shout out for the great stuff you did this summer, helping helping Alabama won, and representing yourself and the university by helping us with our golf tournament to raise a lot of money for our foundation. You helped push a Volkswagen Bug, the Super Share Bug into the mall, represented, and we just want to say thank you, man. And I know that a lot of times people only see what y'all do on Saturday and think it's all about yourself, but thanks for that sacrifice and giving of yourself.
No doubt.
Yeah. But go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm gonna ask one more question, and I'm gonna get the other guys in here on some of the conversation. When it comes to playing, does Tim rather pick up a running back, body slam him, or does Tim rather pass rush and get after that quarterback and take him to the ground? Which one you prefer?
Everybody like this sacks, man, but I'm starting to love this run game a lot more. I rather pick dude up and slam him, man. That's where you get your money at, those sacks. But I like playing the run.
Well, that's awesome. X, what you got for Tim?
Good morning, Tim. How you doing, man?
I'm good, X. What's about you?
I'm doing good. So, going into fall camp, getting started, what do you think the biggest area of improvement you've made throughout the off season?
That would be my weight and conditioning. You know what I'm saying? Summer workouts, we lifting and running all summer. But as far as like translating to the field, I feel like my weight has gotten a lot better over the summer, so I can sustain a little bit longer. I can stay on the field a little bit longer without being winded. You know what I'm saying? Hands all on the hips, bent over and whatnot. But I feel like that's definitely the number one thing that I have improved on over the summer.
All right. And then, so we've all seen what Jaheim Otis has done this all season with transitioning his body from high school to college. What's the most impressive thing about him besides that?
Man, you don't understand how hard I'm over here smiling at the moment. Jaheim is my dude. He's gonna be all right once we teach that guy how to put his hands inside and drive the blocker back. I don't think there's anybody in SEC that'll stop him. But Jaheim, like for him to come, but it's a lot of similar situations to him. You know what I'm saying? He came in a little overweight, but the work that he's put in, like he looks amazing now, and it's good to see him be able to move around at practice. And you know what I'm saying? Like it is amazing to see someone that huge move that swiftly. So I just want to know what I'm saying, get this man in the right track, get him rolling, so we can get him on the field.
Hey Tim, when a lot of times when sometimes we'll make statements as players and stuff that fans and listeners may not understand, take a second and explain to them what you mean by if we can teach him to get his hands inside and drive that blocker back, and what that means and how you execute on that.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, when they watch football and the pass rush, you know what I'm saying, they see the skinnier guys on around the edge, you know what I'm saying, just running around, dipping, chopping, the outside guys. A lot of people don't really pay attention to the interior. So what I mean by put your hands on blocker and then driving back, instead of just, you know what I'm saying, hitting them and then standing at the line of scrimmage, driving back, pushing back a little bit, you know what I'm saying, so you can give the TFL the tackle for loss.
Yeah, and a lot of times, guys, and now, Tim, we're gonna be watching for those quick hands this particular season as you teach us how to do that. But yeah, man, if you can get your hands inside, you got the advantage. As a defender, if you can get your hands on him and inside before he can get his hands on you and inside, you're gonna win most of the battles unless the other guy's just a behemoth. Let's talk a little bit about. Go ahead. Did you have something, Tim?
Oh no, I said no doubt.
Yeah. Hey, when you look at this year's defensive team, there's a lot of fans, Tim, excited about this team overall. Just talk to us a little bit about, man. It seemed like it's about 50 of you guys in that interior this year. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like playing with that unit and what can we expect as Bama fans from you guys as a whole?
Man, expect the standard. Expect nothing less. You know what I'm saying? We up here working right now. We not worried about no outside noises. We know we got to get done this year. We know we didn't get done last year. It's as simple as that, man. And we expect the standard.
And Coach Saban made the statement yesterday that the Bama standard is different than the other standard, and that last year was a rebuild year. You've been here several years, and is there a difference in last year's team, maybe from the team the year before, and this year's team from just a leadership standpoint, a maturity standpoint?
Yeah, a lot of guys come and go. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of lovable faces, you know what I'm saying? Everybody has good connections with. But for the most part, each leadership group is basically sending the same message, man. Stick true to who we are, you know what I'm saying? Play Alabama football, make an Alabama tackle, stick to the standard. Every leadership group is preaching the same message.
And that's what JC said the same thing on yesterday. He said what he felt was different about this team from his experience last year is that it's not just a couple guys leading, and everybody is leading and holding each other accountable, and you cannot do much better than that. Tim, one other question about the team, then I'm going to circle back around to you on a couple specific things. As far as every year, there's always some guys who don't come in the spring, but then they come in during the summer. That tends to catch people's eyes. Has there been a freshman that reported since the end of spring and up until now that we need to have our eyes ready to be watching?
I'm not to downplay any of my teammates, but I haven't really been paying attention to that. That hasn't been my main focus.
I understand.
Or for camp, but in my opinion, I feel like every class we get is loaded. My class 2020, 2021, especially the class that just came in. Like every class that we have is full of talent.
Awesome. Hey, Joe, do you have anything?
Yeah, Tim, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for jumping on with us. A lot of times, the fans get really excited when they see Coach Saban get kind of spicy in the media. And yesterday he kind of was that as well. I'd like to know, from the players' perspective and maybe from inside the locker room, if y'all noticed that and kind of what y'all's reaction is to when Coach Saban takes the fiery attitude from the practice field into the media room.
For me, it's a little funny because it's like he doesn't change. Like this man, he's not gonna fake the funk. He's not just gonna tell you some stuff you want to hear. Like he's gonna keep it a buck with you. Like that's for the media. That's for us. Like in meeting rooms, he ain't gonna sit here and be like, "You a good player." Like, nah, this is what you need to work on, dude. Like. But nah, it's pretty funny to me because it's the same situations at practice. Like you may see him walk over to a player, he has that one wall. You know what he's gonna go do. So it's like he'll go yell at one player, and it's kind of funny because it's like the same thing may have happened to me my freshman year or last year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't really take it to heart, you know what I'm saying, or anything personal like that. But it is interesting to see how he goes about certain situations.
Tim, as you look at speaking with Tim Smith, University of Alabama defensive lineman, the standard at Alabama is always high and always a tough one. And there's been a lot of talk from regarding the Texas game coming up this year, and of course, there's a former player from Alabama out there talking smack. I know you guys don't necessarily focus on always what these other guys say, but as you look at this 2022 season, which team out there do you see is it poses the biggest threat to this Bama team running the table?
There, I don't really see threat. You know what I'm saying? We focusing on game in and game out. We don't circle dates on calendars. As Jordan Battle said in his interview, we do not circle dates. We focus on the game that is in front of us, and we handle it.
All right. Hey, I have a question from a listener that wanted to know. Saban is notorious for using us, the media, to deliver messages to the players. Now, we always think we catch those messages and we talk about them. Do you guys, as a whole, when Saban's talking and sometimes he's delivering that message, do you guys as players turn around and go back and listen and discuss that?
You had kind of went out. My bad. You repeat that question again?
Yeah, no problem. Like Saban, Coach Saban is notorious for delivering a message to the team and to other people via the media. And this listener wanted to know when those times happen, when it's obvious that he's really doing what he's doing to communicate to the team. Do you guys sit back and do y'all get together and discuss that?
Most likely, sometimes it may not be intentional. We may go in the locker room and then we'll be like, "Hey, did you catch what he just said?" or something like that. But yeah, like I said, it may not be intentional, but most of the time, yes, we do conversate about the messages that he does give us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Speaking with Tim Smith, Tim, before we get you out of here, and I circle back with you, I do want to talk to you a little bit about NIL and what's happening with that. You guys did a great job this summer, as I said, helping serve. But the couple things you guys got going on, first of all, your website, you got some great apparel out there via Hedius Maximum. And I'm gonna post that on my social media account. But talk a little bit about you guys doing that, selling that apparel, but also then taking that money and giving it to supporting the women's gymnastics and softball team.
Yeah, with the Hideous Maximum deal, it's a really great opportunity to help build a brand. A lot of NIL deals, it's more so like, yeah, we give you the product and then you post it, yada, yada. But with Hideous Maximum, it allows me to build my brand for myself, like literally. So it's not like I'm promoting someone else's stuff or someone else's things. It's basically, like I said, I'm promoting myself. That's what I like so much about working with Mark. But yeah, like with the whole raising money to help with this community, it low key is awesome. I like the vibe. It makes me feel good as a person. Like with the drive, the back to school drive that we had in the mall, it was good to see the smiles and laughs that we had there. The excitement that everybody had for us, actually helping them out. So that made me feel good as a person and all. But yeah, with the Hideous Maximum deals, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those links are in our bios. You can go check those out. Buy some of our shirts, mugs, jackets, some of our sweatshirts, and that'll be I'm not sure, but I have to double check with Mark to see what I don't want to say when, but yeah, basically when you will be able to get them.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to HediusMaximum.com, HediusMaximum.com, and you can get Tim's apparel there as well as JC and a couple other guys from the Crimson Tide. And when you show him some support and love, you get to walk around with that 5-0 on your back, but also you'll be helping ultimately support the women's softball and gymnastics program. Hey, you guys stepping out and picking up your game, Tim. You're going to actually be releasing a podcast here pretty soon, Rolling with the Tide in the Trenches. Tell us a little bit about how that experience was like, man.
Oh, it was good, man. I actually love that. You know what I'm saying? I actually do follow I Am Athlete podcast and what is it, Pivot, I believe. I follow both of them on social media, but it was good, you know what I'm saying, to actually sit down with my teammates, just chop it up, you know what I'm saying, about basic everyday football stuff that we do.
Yeah. I saw the intro, hadn't seen the whole thing, so but we'll let people know when that's out there. Each guy, if you guys have a question, X, you have a closing question, and Joe, you have a closing question, and then I'll ask mine. X, you're up if you have something.
Yeah, Tim, what is going to make this a successful season personally for you?
Say that one more time. You went out.
Well, what will make 2022 a successful season for Tim Smith?
Win every single game that we play. Dominate for 60 minutes every game.
And Tim, when it is a successful season, a lot of people have certain ways that they like to celebrate. We all know that Coach Saban likes to listen to a certain song with Miss Terry. Do you have a certain song that you kind of turn on, or a meal that you might have a go-to meal after a big win or a big accomplishment, something that you treat yourself to?
No, not really. Some sleep and recovery. That's about it.
All right. Now Tim, I got a couple questions for you to wrap things up. And I'm going to tell you before I ask you the question, I'm going to give you a chance to think about it. Hey, on here, you're not being arrogant when I ask you these questions. I want you to give me your gut level answer and tell people why. But before I ask you that question about the all SEC, what's going to be the difference? Another question from a listener said, "What's going to be the biggest difference in your game personally as we watch Tim versus 2021?"
Let's say my speed and strength. Like I said, I've been dropping a little weight. You know what I'm saying? Getting in shape. My conditioning is up. So I'm gonna have to give it to that.
Well, Tim, I'm telling you now, I'm sitting here listening, and I'm telling you, I'm hearing Aaron Donald. Okay, so I'm just telling you, I'm putting that expectation on you. I'm just kidding. But hey, man, who do you model your game after? If you sit there as a guy at the next level that you kind of look at and say, man, if I could play the way that guy plays.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't really compare myself. I don't try to play like anyone. I try to get my job done as best as I can. So I know a lot of NFL teams and the way they play, their defense is a lot different from ours. So if I were to go and try to attempt the stuff that they're out there doing, I'd be on the sideline. Y'all never see 50 on the field.
Yeah. Well, Tim, next time we have you on, we're going to have you break that down because you just made a great point. The way you do things has to be within your scheme, even though you may have a different skill set that may lend itself to something else. You have to play within the scheme. All right, here's kind of two questions that I want Tim to kind of be honest with us, Tim, and don't be afraid to say it. Tim Smith is all SEC if he does what?
Exactly what I'm supposed to do.
Oh, come on, Tim. You got to give me a little more than that, man. Tim, hey, listen. You gonna have to give me a little bit more. You gonna have to tell me if I'm drive blocking that center into the quarterback, how many sacks, how many tackles. Come on, man. You're gonna be all SEC. Well, okay. Let me ask you this way then. what is Tim going to have to do then?
Be disruptive. Every play, down in and down out.
All right. Now, if you're disrupted, that means you're getting in the backfield. And last but definitely not least, what's the legacy? What do you want people to remember about Tim Smith as he moves forward?
The first thing that comes to my mind is my work ethic. You know what I'm saying? I want people to remember, you know what I'm saying? People remember you by how you play, you know what I'm saying? All that's on film. You can say this, but that film's gonna show another thing. So I just want people to remember me by my work ethic, you know what I'm saying? How I play.
Well, man, it's day one. We will get you back, Tim, as you guys have a little bit more time to get into the swing of the things. I know there's some people wanted questions out there regarding how practice is going, but you guys just started. So we'll get you back on to talk a little bit more about what all is happening. I'll give you the closing thoughts as you speak to the Bama Nation for 2022 as y'all kick things off for this season.
For sure.
Do it now.
You good? Hold on. We in camp right now. They just came in to work, blow the horn to wake us up. I didn't hear what you had said. That's my bad. I apologize.
Oh no. So that's okay. You need to take care of your business. I was just gonna let you have the closing thoughts to the Bama Nation. And anything you want to say to them before you get out of here?
Oh, but no, very much appreciate y'all for having me on this morning. Big shout out to Mark and his crew for handling this Hedges Maximus deal with us. You know what I'm saying? Helping us promote our brand and actually creating more value for ourselves. But I'm gonna go get ready and head to this facility. But once again, thank y'all for having me this morning.
Yeah, tell them real quick, Tim, as you get out of here and go get ready to do business one more day. Tell them where they can follow you on Twitter.
Yes, everybody, y'all can follow me on Twitter. That'd be at Timothy_Smith77. Ignore the 77. That is a long high school story. But Instagram, Tim.S50. And you can follow me on Instagram as well.
Well, Tim, we'll have to get that story the next time you're on about that 77. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, sir.
No doubt. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Well, guys, hey, let's get the break here. Come back. We'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
This is Cade Bagwell with your Tide Sports Update. Former Alabama wide receiver Jamison Williams is set to return from injury mid-November with the Detroit Lions. In Bama Hoops news, Alabama is set to rematch Houston after their spectacular game from last year. The game will take place December 10th at the Fertitta Center in Houston. At Nick Saban's annual Nick's Kids Luncheon, the legendary coach showed support for their veteran broadcaster Eli Gold, who will be sidelined for the first part of the 2022 football season. Join us in wishing Eli a speedy recovery.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
That flat weave shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. 41-year-old Tiffany Berger of Barry was killed in a head-on collision on Highway 43 that happened 11 miles north of Northport just after 1 yesterday afternoon, according to troopers. 2 passengers in her car and the other driver were transported to DCH Regional Medical Center with injuries. The highway remained closed for several hours after that crash. Troopers continue to investigate. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage. It's free. I'm Don Hart.
School is back, and so is the JCPenney Mystery Sale. How much will you save? Hurry in store for a coupon giveaway while they last. You could peel and reveal an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off store-wide. Sale ends Sunday. Extended store hours Friday and Saturday. Shopping is back, and the savings are too. JCPenney. Coupon valid on select styles through 8/7. Exclusions apply. Giveaway in-store only. Must be 18 years or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
The mystery sale is back at JCPenney, just in time for back to school. Discover extra savings with our in-store coupon giveaway while supplies last. How much will you save? Shopping is back.
Has the pandemic affected your business? Even with more and more customers going online in the past 5 years, online business has grown greatly due to the pandemic. Now more than ever, it's important to have a strong online presence so that customers can find your business and products easily. That's where Townsquare comes in to help. Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free competitive analysis to see how your business stands up to the competition. And if you're one of the first to sign up, you'll get $500 in free advertising on this radio station. That's mylocalcustomers.com. Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor in Tuscaloosa with over 24 years experience. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-7503.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Tide 100.9. This is Martin Houston, X's and O's, Xavier Houston joining me each and every day, and Joe Gaither behind that. Hey, X, give me your thoughts on Tim and some of his comments. I was trying to get him to talk a little bit more. He kind of stayed on the edge there. I say they have been Sabanized, but any takeaways from the conversation?
Yeah, this is our second time interviewing Tim. He likes to keep it close to the vest, but I always enjoy talking to him and hearing his insight. So I'm expecting big things from Tim this year and what he's going to bring to the Alabama football team.
Joe, any thoughts there?
Oh, I mean, exactly kind of what Xavier said. He would. It sounded like he was trying to be real careful with what he wanted to say and what he didn't want to say. So we'll just have to see what he puts out there on the field on Saturdays.
Yeah, and that's true. And I know as listeners and as interviewers, there's a lot of questions that I want to ask, but I also want to make sure we take our time with these guys and not try to get everything at once. And once the season is going, Joe, we'll be able to get more specific on things. Right now, there's a lot of hypotheticals, and just about every offseason typical question has been asked. Hey, what are we going to do about A&M? What are we going to do about this? So I tried to give a little different angle and hopefully help the fans learn a little bit more. But I was trying to goad them a little bit, Joe, into talking about we're going to kick some people's butt, and I couldn't get him to go there. We're going to pancake some guys. I couldn't get him to go there, man. But I think what you'll see over time, Joe, is these guys, Xavier, they'll get better and better at opening up and knowing what they can say and can't say on these interviews. It's a little different when they do it, and the questions are kind of in a box and specific to a team. So we'll watch. I'll let Pat, you're in. You got about 30 seconds, sir.
I just wanted to say that Tim was more about team than about Tim. That was extremely impressive. As hard as you tried, Martin, you did an excellent job. And we'll get on my question Monday.
Okay, that'll work.
I just wanted to say how fantastic a job that Tim did about team. Did you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I will tell you, Curtis said if they're this week on the podcast, it will fail. I've heard that the podcast, when you get 4 of them together at one time, Curtis, I think they're a lot stronger because they play off of each other, they bounce off of each other, and I don't know that the podcast can be played on radio airwaves and. We're gonna have to see. It may have to be cleaned up a little bit before it comes on the Martin Houston show. So I can tell you that what I've heard about the podcast, they went into some questions and different things from a standpoint of what it was like when they stepped foot on campus and some different things like that. And like I said, I think they play well off of each other. And so I could have asked some of those same questions, but I didn't want to ask those same questions, and then you guys have already heard what they're asking on the podcast. That makes sense, guys?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So
have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too, Pat. And so what we're trying to do here is, like I said, these guys are learning, and we're going to help them learn how to do it and walk through it with them. And this is something that's new. I mean, these guys have never been on, and we have to make sure we walk, because the one thing, Joe, I don't want to do is get them banned from being on my show because of the questions I ask causes them to say or do something that gets them in trouble with Coach Saban. So, but we'll get better. They'll get better. And I thank all of you for being a part of it. And hey, once practice gets going, which there will be a few more practices in the book by Monday, by the time we're back on the air, it'll give us a chance to have some more specifics when we catch back up with them the next time. Hey, Nick Saban said they're rebuilding, retooling, whatever. Regardless of what you think, you have to be excited about this edition of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. And maybe He'll direct your paths to Harvest Church this Sunday. If not, find yourself in church somewhere. Thanks for being a part of the Martin Houston Show. For Xavier with X and O's, for Joe Gaither, a cup of Joe, I'm Martin Houston for the Martin Houston Show. Roll Tide out there, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Towns of Nissan